And that kind of leads us to boundaries. In the intro that I was reading here, it said, um, proven strategies for emotional healing and boundary setting. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about boundary setting, what that actually means, and then how to actually do that.
Boundary setting, absolutely. Boundary setting is basically when you put up the energetic, mental, and emotional fence around yourself. This is me. You don't get to come into this space and create chaos and make my life worse. And for every person, it's different. And as we get healthier, our fence gets wider and wider. But it's really hard to set those boundaries because of all of the beliefs that we have built around that. As a kid, and this is just the for real truth, we didn't get to set boundaries. It was objectively not safe for us. So, those fears, that inability to set boundaries, is keeping us safe. Of course, as we grow into adulthood, it's not so much anymore, and it's actually letting the crazy makers in. But there's a really young part of us that believes that those boundaries are still keeping us safe. And so it feels life or death. Our nervous system gets triggered, and we go into the sweaty palms and the heart beating and the fuzzy thinking. It feels really, really unsafe to draw that line into the sand, to have that conversation with that person. And I think giving ourselves that information is important, understanding what happened to us. So, yeah, you're not doing this thing called boundary setting, but it's okay because it's actually really rational and logical. Like, there's nothing fundamentally flawed with you. It makes sense in that perverse world you grew up in. And so that helps with your confidence, that helps with your energy. And then after you get that foundation built, that you're not crazy for even wanting a boundary, then I start going through with my clients one by one. Okay, what's the belief? What's the first time you had this belief? And then we notice and acknowledge the emotional life or death nervous system reaction that goes with that root thought. And then I use EFT, emotional freedom technique, and tapping to release not just the thought that's causing the problem, but all of that nervous system, life or death emotion or burden that is crippling us, literally physically crippling us, shutting us down. And as we go through those beliefs one by one by one, eventually boundary setting becomes easier.